Thank you very much, Director Montesa, for the very kind introduction. Distinguished guests and stakeholders of the property valuation and taxation sector, members of the DOF and DNR families, representatives of various national government agencies, representatives of the Worldbank and the Australian aid, my former colleague and currently a member of the Monetary Board, former Secretary Nitz Amatong. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to the first National Congress on Property Valuation and Taxation. In this keynote address, I intend to focus on the value of the real property valuation and taxation reforms to fiscal governance and meaningful decentralization as mandated under the Local Government Code. One of DOF's thrust on fiscal governance and decentralization is the fiscal autonomy of the local government units, which is the ultimate measure of decentralization under the Local Government Code. Considering that real property tax is the biggest potential resource, let us acknowledge the reality that there is still an overwhelming dependence of LGUs on national government agencies for development programs and functions that have already been devolved. Land administration and management offers a solution to this problem. As the Local Government Code had envisioned, real property taxes would be the bread and butter of LGU operations. Unfortunately, this has not happened in most cases in the past 2 decades. The Land Administration and Management Project, or LAMP, has brought the light to increasing the revenue generation capacity of the government and hopefully to meaningful governance through proper land administration and management. Revenue generation in this context is largely anchored on land-based taxes and fees. Sadly, the fiscal aspect of this opportunity had not yet been realized. After more than 10 years of implementing the Local Government Code through LAMP, we continue to face certain realities. First, the existence of multiple systems and methodologies for real property valuation in more than 20 national government agencies and 1,714 LGUs doing valuation. Second, the lack of national standards and methods for valuation, coupled with lack of training for valuers in the absence of formal property valuation education and training in the country. And third, the outdated real property values due to erratic updating of the schedule of market values by LGUs, which resulted in low revenue collections from real property taxes. Real property valuation is also still not well understood by most local councils which approve the schedule of market values for LGUs. All these have led to the dismal contribution of land-related taxes and fees to LGUs' incomes. The World Bank estimated that 50% to 75% of a country's wealth is contained in real estate. In the Philippines, real property's contribution to the national income accounts for only 6%. The ineffective and inequitable property valuation and taxation system in the country contributed to the huge revenue forgone for decades. This also triggered informal property transactions and affected the quality of governance, socio-economic development, and vibrancy of the real estate market in the country. The testimonies of research and studies jointly done by Australian AID and the Worldbank convince us that there is something wrong with the land sector. This is the reason why we proceeded with the reforms under LAMP 2. These efforts have led us to where we are now in the reform process. Under LAMP 2, we have underscored the link between land administration system and revenue generation. We have seen the proverbial light at the end of the tunnel. It is the light of the train that links land administration and management with fiscal management, which would lead to a brighter fiscal governance and meaningful decentralization under the local government code. We're pleased to announce that to date, under LAMP 2, through the property valuation and taxation component, we have achieved milestones leading us closer to professional, transparent, and internationally recognized property valuation sector. Let me enumerate our key achievements. 1, the Real Estate Service Act, or RESA. With this, the Professional Regulatory Board of Real Estate Service under the Professional Regulation Commission is now performing its mandate to implement the law. Executive Order number 833 created the Property Valuation Office on October 13, 2009, making it an integral and regular instrumentality of the DOF. 3, the DOF's promulgation of the Philippine Valuation Standards, which adopted the International Valuation Standard. We introduced a common set of standards for valuation work, both in government and the private sector. These standards would guide us into the right property evaluation in the country using internationally recognized standards. Through the Bangko Sentral ng Filipinas, the banking sector has adopted the project's recommendations and initiated compliance with the standards in their valuation-related functions. 4, the project has also developed IT tools such as valuation database and information systems, the electronic field appraisal and assessment sheet, and others that support valuation reform activities and promote compliance with the standards. 5th, also for the first time in the country's history, formal education on property valuation is now offered by the UP Open University, and this commenced last May 2010. Taxation studies on transfer taxes and fees have likewise been completed, and the National Tax Research Center is in the process of finalizing a package of tax reforms. Initial efforts at SMB revision, tax studies conducted to support local legislation, and related computerization efforts have generated positive results in terms of improved efficiency in financial governance by LGUs. Naga City, one of the pilot areas of Component 4, has achieved the distinction of being the first city in the country to have a single property valuation base for taxation purposes. More importantly, these developments have steered the interests of several LGUs to participate in the reforms. Learnings from these experiences and best practices in application of these processes in partner LGUs have been documented and now embodied in a guidebook. The DOF has issued a department order prescribing the mass appraisal guidebook to all LGUs in May 2010.